Hey guys, it's Dawn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is my first time filming in front of this background, so we'll see how this goes. I'm sorry if anything's wonky about it, but I'm not used to it yet, so we're just going to run with it and see what we have to tweak later. So I'm a few days late, but of course I want to talk about my goals for 2021, specifically focusing on my writing and reading goals because I'm sure that's what you guys are interested in, not my fitness goals and family goals and all that random stuff. So we're going to start by kind of talking about what my goals were last year and what I got done, and then we'll jump into my goals for 2021. So I had a hard time finding where I wrote down goals for last year, which I think is pretty indicative of how those goals went. But my main writing goal for last year was to finish the second draft of The Network and jump into beta reading. So long story short, that did not happen. I only got to about a little over 100,000 words total in the second draft, and that is the midpoint of the novel. So you can imagine how big this bad boy is going to be. Just to put it in perspective, my complete first draft of The Network was only 67,000 words. So at my midpoint in the second draft, I am 33,000 words longer than the full first draft. So it's going to be a long one. One of the other complications, besides just the fact that I was adding so much to this draft, was, in March, things kind of went crazy around the world, and that made me very stressed out, and it made me not want to write or feel motivated to write. So from like the end of March till I think the beginning of July, I didn't write anything. So I lost 3 months of the year that could have been productive and I could have gotten a lot done, but I did like nothing. And it's kind of a bummer to look back at that and kind of have regret about what could have been done during that time. But you know what? 2020 was an awful year for so many reasons, obviously global reasons. And then I know a lot of us had personal things happen to us this year. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself about it, especially since hitting 100,000 words in a draft, I've never done that before, and it's a pretty significant accomplishment for me. So I'm going to be happy with it and not beat myself up too much about it. So one of the things that helped me get back into writing in July was I watched a video put out by Brandon Sanderson about just, basic writing tips. I forget what it's called, but I'll try to find it and link it. But one of the tips he gave was tracking your word count so that you can see your progress, and I had not been doing that. So starting then, I began making charts for myself. So I was at about the 40,000 word mark when I had given up in March and then come back to it in July. So this first chart was from 40,000 words to 60,000 words. I don't know how well you guys can see that. I'm messing with my camera today, so I'm not sure how well it's focusing. But you can see it's a bit messy. I used markers that kind of bled everywhere, so this chart is not very pretty. So of course I learned for my next two, so I have from 60,000 to 80,000 words, and then from 80,000 to 100,000. And I used this one fully during NaNoWriMo and part of this one during NaNoWriMo. Speaking of NaNoWriMo, that is actually one thing I accomplished this last year was I participated and won NaNoWriMo. So I cheated a little bit and was a rebel this past year. So I was working on revisions for the network and drafting a new project, which is the novella that I am writing for the Indie Bookworm book box. So I combined the two projects and just counted my word count for both, and it ended up being enough to win at the end of November. So that was pretty cool. And then I feel like that's a good segue into talking about the novella. So this was not a project I had planned. It was a completely new idea. I literally came up with it for the box when Amara approached our group, our little writing friend group, to see if anyone wanted to do the first novella for the launch of her box, and I volunteered. And I just knew I didn't want to use any of my old ideas in case I wanted to use them later for traditional publication, and so I realized I needed to come up with something completely new. So I think that was the first time in my life where I've ever sat down and thought, okay, come up with an idea. And it was really weird. I'd never done that before, but I love the novella. I'm having a ton of fun with it. And because I'm really extra and I have no self-control, I already have plans to finish it and then take some notes after I do the read through, or as I do the read through rather, and then adapt it and expand it into a full novel, because why not? So the novella is not finished yet. I just sent off part 3 to Amara, so there's 2 more parts to get done. So I will finish the last part in February. So we're getting pretty close. But in total, just based on what I have actually kept track of word count wise, and then what I estimate I did at the beginning of the year before shenanigans happened, I'm fairly certain I got at least 100,000 words written this year, written/revised. So I'm really happy with that. It's not what I wanted it to be, but it's still good. So I'm gonna just be happy with it and pat myself on the back and move on and try to do better this year. So those were my writing goals. I'll keep book goals really short. I had a book goal or a reading goal on Goodreads to do 40 books in 2020. And I kid you not, I literally got 39. And it's because I decided to start Rhythm of War at the end of the year. And I blasted through the first 3 books of the Stormlight Archive, but for some reason, this one, I've just been really taking my time and absorbing all the details rather than just blasting through and missing a million things like I did with the first 3. So I didn't finish it by the end of December. So I'm literally still reading it right now. So that was supposed to be my 40th book, but whatever. So something I forgot to mention in my recap of 2020's reading goals is that I made the goal to do a no-buy year as far as books. And that didn't happen. So I made it until June. And then I got my birthday books from my husband, and I got some from my grandpa as well. So I didn't count those, obviously, because those were gifts. But it kind of opened the floodgates because I went and picked them out in person. So it felt like I was buying them. And so I think after that and before Christmas, so between my birthday and Christmas, I bought 3 more new books and then a bunch of thrift store books. So I lasted almost half a year, but I did not complete that goal. So, but on the bright side, of all the books I bought or I got for my birthday, I read all of them. So all the new ones I read, and then I'm almost done with Rhythm of War. And I read one of the other 2 that I purchased after my birthday. And then the one that is left that has not been read or started yet is The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. So that's something I'm going to try to get done in the first couple months of the year. So yeah, anyways, I thought I should probably mention that because yeah, that did not happen. So for 2021's goals, I'm just going to make things easy and talk about reading first, since we just ended with that. My reading goal that I have on Goodreads is 41 books. I was going to do 40, but then my husband gave me a hard time because he's like, well, you didn't read your 40th book last year, so you need to add it to this one. So literally, if you go to my Goodreads account, it says 41 books because why not? As far as secondary reading goals, I want to read all of the books I got for Christmas by my birthday in June, so that, when I inevitably get my birthday book haul, I will have all my books read before then and not be kind of falling behind and getting too many books accumulated. Additionally, I would like to read every single Indie Bookworm book that I receive in my boxes this year, excluding the December one, because I just don't know if I'll have time for when it arrives in December, getting it finished by the end of December. So just the first 11 months of the year, I will say I want to get those done, which kind of helps because I also would like to read more indie books this year. And obviously, if I read the Indie Bookworm books, that will be plenty of indie books. Lastly, I want to read 6 nonfiction books this year. I take a long time to read those, so I just don't think I can get any more done than that. All right, that's it for reading goals. Let's jump into writing goals. I'm going to be reading from my journal because that's where I recorded everything. One of my writing goals, so it's not fiction related, but one of my writing goals is to be better about journaling this year. I'm going to try to write once a week, probably on Sundays, just because I'm not a daily journaler. I know myself well enough to know that I cannot do that. So it's going to be a once a week thing, but I will try to be better about journaling this year. Okay, so major writing goals: finish draft 2 of The Network. I'm just going to take it slow on that. So if I get it done by the end of the year, I will be happy. It's probably another 100,000 words. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And I have other things I'm going to be working on too. So like I said, I don't want to go crazy and be like, well, I have to get it done in 3 months and then send it to beta readers, because clearly that did not work out well for me last year. So not making that mistake again. Next is to finish my novella, which will be the easiest goal because I have a deadline for that and it'll be done in February. Third goal, I want to finish the first draft of my Russian fairy tale novel that I started in, it was NaNoWriMo 2019. So I'm guessing I have maybe 20 to 30,000 words left to finish that, so not much at all. I would like to write one nonfiction piece this year and get it published somewhere, so like an article or an opinion piece. I would like to write one short story this year, and if I like it, I will try to publish it somewhere. Next, I have that I want to re-outline my novella so that I can adapt it into a novel. And then lastly, I want to participate in and win NaNoWriMo. I think that's probably plenty of goals for this year. Just as a random side note, do you guys like the planner that my daughter picked out for me? So she's really young, she's a toddler, so I just held a couple up, and of course she saw a cat, so she chose the cat, which I'm not mad about. I think it's really cute. So the last 2 years I had used planners from In the Leafy Treetops, but they were just far too detailed for me, and there were sections of them that felt redundant because I had already been recording that type of thing. So like financial data, for example, I had been recording it in a different notebook. So it just got redundant and I didn't feel like I got enough use out of it. So I simplified this year and just got a monthly, weekly planner. So those are all my writing and reading related goals for 2021. Wish me luck that I can do all of them, or at least most of them. Cause yeah, I mean, I'm sure we all start the year really optimistic and then life happens, man. Life happens. Like 2020 showed us again and again and just kept slapping us back and forth across the face. Or was that just me? I don't know. So anyways, wish me luck. I hope you guys do really well on your goals this year. Let me know what they are down below if you feel like it, and I will see you guys next time. I hope you all have an amazing week, and as always, happy writing. Bye.